The Subaru Share the Love event is on from November 20th to January 2nd. For 18 years, Subaru and its retailers have supported over 2,700 local charities through the Share the Love event. When you purchase or lease a new vehicle during the 2025 Subaru Share the Love event, Subaru and its retailers will make a minimum $300 donation to charity. Visit Subaru.com/share to learn more.
Oh, Hilton stay, your beds are soft and cozy. No lumpy couch, no stiff futon, no shower line at crack of dawn. Oh, Hilton stay, a holiday you're saving.
When you want holiday comfort you can count on, it matters where you stay. This season, enjoy spacious, comfortable rooms and friendly service when you book with Hilton instead. Hilton for the stay.
Brooks Running reminds us that we're all powered by something. Whether it's the me-time energy of a run after a day at the office, the electrifying energy of your first marathon, or the infectious energy of a group run with your friends. No matter what energy powers you, Brooks has gear specifically designed to unleash it. So lace up and let it out. Let's run there. Visit brooksrunning.com today to learn more.
Hey, Fidelity. What's it cost to invest with the Fidelity app?
Start with as little as $1 with no account fees or trade commissions on U.S. stocks and ETFs.
That's music to my ears.
I can only talk.
Investing involves risk, including risk of loss. Zero account fees apply to retail brokerage accounts only. Sell order assessment fee not included. A limited number of ETFs are subject to a transaction-based service fee of $100. See full list at fidelity.com/commissions. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC, member NYSE, SIPC.
Good morning, Crust. It's a great day to be a bread brother.
Ugh, mornings are not my jam. Or jelly.
Oh, come on. Stop loafing around.
I just woke up feeling hollow inside.
Psst, just grab one of the new Morning Uncrustables sandwiches, like Bright-Eyed Berry or Up and Apple, filled with 12 grams of protein and tons of deliciousness. Crust, what are you eating?
It's just granola, not even yogurt.
No crust, no fuss. Uncrust your mornings.
Hello and welcome to Islanders Anxiety from Lighthouse Hockey and the Fans First Sports Network. My name is Dan Saracini. Joining me on this Sunday evening, mere hour or so after the Islanders lost to the Columbus Blue Jackets, is my friend Michael Leboff. And Mike, that was a shitty way to end what had been actually quite a good week for the Islanders. They did some good things. They couldn't bring it across the finish line. Unfortunately, we're going to talk all about it. But up until the moment where they gave up the empty net goal to Columbus, I was thinking, you know what? This had been a pretty good week. Or I shouldn't say not the empty net goal, but the game-winning goal. I was thinking, you know what? This had been a pretty good week. And even if they get to overtime and lose, I'd say that's pretty good. But instead, it's a loss. It sucks. And they're just going to have to do it again next week. And maybe they'll score more than 2 goals in a game next week. What did you think of this one? Like, what are your thoughts right now with the Islanders again after the loss in Columbus, but with 2 wins this week as well?
Yeah, and of course the context of those 2 wins is who they came against,
right?
Especially one of them, and so yeah, you can't. I mean, it was shitty way to have this weekend, and I was thinking during that Devils game after Pelech scored was that the Islanders had so many of those games happen to them where they were on the wrong side of a back-breaking goal and don't even get a point, don't even get the game to overtime. But they hadn't had one like that, and a couple of days later, of course, it happened. So the fact that it happened in that excruciating of a way certainly puts a sour taste in your mouth after what you said. Great week or start to the week, 2 out of 3. Can't really complain about that. And perhaps this is just who they are as a team. where last week we were kind of lamenting the missed opportunity of, gaining some separation in the playoff race. I feel that way a little bit again tonight. It just feels like they just can't. They're getting so close to getting over the hump,
Right.
into like the other end of the standings, so to speak, the race for a playoff spot. We're comfortably in a spot right now, part of the standings where
Right.
you could say like Carolina is, or in the West, obviously Dallas and Colorado and Minnesota. They're so close to like tipping the ball into that part of the court, but they just can't get there because they have a game like this, or they have the little stretch they had during that long homestand after that an unbelievable road trip, or they had the last week, as we said, they kind of fumbled the bag a bit as well. So they just seem like they're so close to putting it all together, but there's so much more good stuff to talk about than bad stuff. Even with that loss, like we've seen the emergence of a cult hero here on Long Island, and we certainly love our cult heroes. Matt Barzell ends up taking maybe my favorite penalty ever on Sunday night, despite the loss. We're seeing more of that kind of good stuff, standing up for Schaefer and standing up for one another, and that galvanizing force as a team. The Pelech and Polak, I know they're not together, but the two of them are playing great still, and Bo Horvat's back. It's so there's just like a lot of good stuff going on, but at the same time, they remain perilously close to being in trouble just because of the way the standings shake out, and they just can't nudge that domino into the next one to just put them into, we're safely in a playoff spot territory, and that's what's gonna make your nights on the sofa or at UBS Arena, white knuckle experiences, because even a loss like this, where you're always the odds are a little stacked against you because of the schedule situation. Columbus was off yesterday. Islanders are traveling. They less than 24 hours between games. They play a really emotional game against the Rangers the night before, all that stuff. So like even had they just won a couple other games earlier in the season, losses like this would not make you they wouldn't like retch you as much as they are, but because they haven't been able to tip us into that safety zone yet, we're still gonna, I wouldn't say be upset about them, but be they'll make us, they'll put our antenna up and make us a little nervous about where they are in the standings, rather than just write it off as just a loss that happens.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good way to put it. There is a lot more good stuff this week than bad stuff. And they can't seem to kind of pull away. And the thing is, nobody in the East has really pulled away. I mean, they're 3 points behind Carolina right now in the division. And had they won, they would have been right behind them, not only by a point in the division, but also in the conference. Like, that would have been a huge thing. I mean, the Islanders have 46 points. Carolina has 49, but then Tampa, Detroit, they have 47. The Habs also have 46. The Flyers are right behind the Islanders. They're playing tonight in Seattle, so we'll see how that goes with 45. And like, nobody's out of this. I mean, we were joking about the Sabres a week ago. They've reeled off 8 straight wins, and they are right behind the Panthers right now, who we also, some people, I didn't laugh at them. Some people I kind of laughed at them, who are in the 8th and final wild card spot right now. So we have no idea where this season is going to go. It's still very much possible that the Islanders do make the playoffs, but it's also very possible that they don't make the playoffs. And like, there's this, I don't remember an Eastern Conference being this wide open before in a long time. I mean, the Blue Jackets, who won today, are in last place. They're only 4 points behind the Panthers in that last wild card spot. So like, it's not like they're completely out of it either. So there's a ton of teams. Everybody's, goal differential is underwater, except for the teams that are in the playoffs, which is, I guess, the best way to kind of like look at it, except for the Ottawa Senators. So it's a lot. There's a lot going on. The Islanders have kept pace. That's good. But man, that was a tough one to watch. With so much going right for them, you thought they could pull it out, but they didn't. Well, anyway, we'll get to that point. It's in a few minutes. Reminder that we are on Patreon at patreon.com/IslandersAnxiety. Membership gets you ad-free episodes, bonus podcasts, written posts, chats with us, and a whole lot more. You can try a 7-day free trial of our country club tier, or you can just join up for free to get our weekly release calendar. So sign up any way you can, patreon.com/IslandersAnxiety. Okay, let's go back in time, talk about the Devils game, talk about the Rangers game, and then talk about this Columbus game. In the second half, we're going to look ahead to the next few games, including one against the hated Maple Leafs. So the best part about this episode is that we get to talk shit about the Rangers and Leafs at the same time. And then we are going to have a little quick Master Leaf Theater starring a new voice for Master Leaf Theater, which is always exciting. So let's go back to that game against the Devils on Tuesday, the day before Christmas Eve. Very quickly, the Islanders won 2-1. In the first period, Nico Hischier finds Brett Pesce creeping in, makes it 1-0 New Jersey. Was Pesce's first of the season, which was kind of weird. It seemed like the Islanders were going to be in trouble. I forgot to mention Marshall Warren was in this game for the first time in a long time. It was also Ugly Sweater Night, which we'll talk about, I guess, in a few minutes. Second period, Jacob Markstrom comes out to play the puck. The puck goes off Jonas Siegenthaler to Simon Holmstrom, who basically just deposits it in the empty net, ties the game at 1. Hey, you know what? We'll take it. Wasn't going the Islanders' way, but suddenly the game is tied after 2. And then with a minute and 11 seconds to go, Adam Pelech kind of does a drive-by shot, ends up going into the corner behind Markstrom, makes it 2-1 Islanders. That would be the final score. The last minute was quite hairy, but Pelech ended up pinning the puck against the boards, and the Islanders get out with a win. David Rittich was huge this night, 28 saves. That will be a pattern that would continue. We'll get back to him in a few minutes. Markstrom made 23. He was good except for that one boner that he had in the second period. No penalties because the refs took an early vacation, but it was a huge 2-1 win, a kind of a gift in a way. And Adam Pelech, thanks to his drive-by game-winning goal, is your Vanda Pharmaceuticals Shot of the Week recipient. Get vaccinated today. Not often you see the Cobra get a game-winning goal, but this was a fun one. Just before Christmas, I sent Islanders fans into a good holiday and was about as needed as a win could possibly be. What'd you think of this one? They didn't have their best, but they walked out with 2 points, which is all you can really ask for.
It's one of those, you could say they didn't have their best or they won without their fastball. They stole the 2 points, whatever. But I think they kind of just did what they needed to do to manage this game. I thought they managed this game really well. The Islanders, they never seem to. So many times against the Devils in previous years, we've seen the Islanders almost get sucked into the game that the Devils want to play, back and forth, up and down. Jack Hughes skating all over the place, and the Islanders trying to replicate that, which is not that easy to do when you got Brock Nelson and Julien Gauthier as one of your lines, and so I liked the way that they managed this game and kind of tried to put it on their terms. Goaltending was largely good, except for that one Tristan Jarry performance from Markstrom, and obviously Rittich was good for the Islanders, and that's going to be something to talk about more in the next game. But and I just that goal by Pelech, I don't want to say it felt for Devils fans because I didn't, but I know how Devils fans felt exactly in that situation because the Devils have done that to us before, very recently. I think it was Curtis Lazar against the Islanders a couple seasons ago, and then they had a couple other games where they tied up late and won in overtime, and so we paid them back one there. It's funny. I was talking to a couple of other people during the game, and the main point of the whole conversation seemed to just gear towards Adam Pelech and how good he's been, and he ends up scoring, and so it just, you can almost feel it in the air that was going to be his game, and it made me think of a point that hadn't really crossed my mind yet this season, which was the Islanders. When the Islanders traded Noah Dobson, the entire hockey world framed the trade as the Islanders were losing something in this trade, right? Like they're a cornerstone franchise, top pair defenseman,
right,
in his prime. You just can't find those. Those don't grow on trees. Let me ask you a question. Have you once thought this entire season during a game been like, man, I wish we had Noah Dobson for that one?
Absolutely not.
Isn't that and this game, watching Pelech have this kind of performance, and obviously the Schaefer thing helps, but the Islanders
Sure.
already had the number one pick in their account by the time they traded Dobson, so it's not like they traded him and then got lucky with the lottery. It was the opposite way, but this game really made me think that, and the next game kind of put that into, because the way the Islanders defended against the Rangers, like, made me think about it even more, which is that nobody has stopped and framed the Islanders' surprising start to this, or first half of the season, in that way at all, because nobody wants to admit that maybe we made a bigger deal out of this and maybe I was wrong about this player, or maybe my charts lied to everybody. But and so much of the reason we don't think about Noah Dobson, it's that elevator scene in Mad Men, like, oh, I actually don't think about you at all, is that Pelech and Pelech have been so good. Like, Schaefer has been great, but Pelech and Pelech have been, and maybe part of it is just that Schaefer's eating up so many minutes and taking so much of the responsibility off of their plates that they're able to excel at their roles even further. They've made it pretty clear, like, the Islanders just didn't need Noah Dobson, and everybody, and including us, like, I thought that would have been if before the season would have been a loss that the Islanders would feel at times this season. But I've thought about Noah Dobson, right? Like, I've thought about him this season, but mostly in the context of, let me check to see Noah Dobson's turnover tonight against the Senators for the Canadians. I've thought about it, but I haven't once thought about him during an Islander game, been like, man, we could have used Dobson. Hell, right now who I'm thinking about, and I thought about it when it's clicking in everyone's head that the Islanders have scored two goals or less in however many games in a row. I was like, they could use a Brock Nelson right now, right? Like, someone who can just score a goal out of nowhere. And I haven't thought about it once with Dobson, which and this game really drove that point home because of how well Pelech played.
Yeah. How many times have I thought the Islanders need Noah Dobson? Exactly 0. I can tell you that truthfully. How many times I thought, man, the Islanders can use Jordan Eberle over the last 5 or 6 years, whatever he got lost in the expansion. It's been a few times. Right. It's not all the time. It's not every season or whatever, but it's been a few times where I'm like, man, how great would Eberle have been on that 2-on-1? You know, because he was always that good.
You know what? Like, you could even think about it with other very players. Like, God, the Islanders could have used a Cal Clutterbuck in this kind of game tonight, or they could have used
Ross Johnston's name has been coming up. Yes,
Ross Johnston. Yeah, exactly. Like, there are these guys, and Dobson's name, never once have I been like, oh man, you know what the Islanders really needed tonight? Right. Somebody for Bo Horvat to win a faceoff cleanly to him on the 6-on-5, and then have him fumble it, and the Islanders give up the empty netter 3 seconds later.
Yeah. Or got to just turn the puck over in his own zone for no reason whatsoever, despite being not pressured at all. But yeah, no, you're right. And the only times we've ever really thought about him is when people want to antagonize Habs fans about him or whatever. Even when Heineman scores, like, it's almost like that's maybe the only time we think, wow, this guy came over in this Dobson trade. So yeah, no, the person of Noah Dobson has certainly not been missed, but I don't think he was necessarily in this game either. I don't know how we got on this subject for that Devils game, but yeah, Pelech was terrific in this game. It was great to see him get rewarded. That shot really snuck in. I'm sure Jacob Markstrom is still trying to replay it in his head, like, how the hell did that even go in? But it was cool to see. I'm glad you mentioned Jack Hughes, because I mentioned off the top. He was back in this game, and I thought, oh, great, here we go. But I ended up having a pretty quiet game altogether. There was a scare when Cal Ritchie got hurt, went down the tunnel, but he ended up coming back. I liked Warren's game a lot. So it was a good game. It was something my daughter was actually having some friends over for the holidays, so I was kind of sequestered in the basement watching the game, and I was a little nervous that watching the game down there is not my usual spot, and I'm going to throw the mojo off, but it ended up paying off. And everybody had, at least I had a very good Christmas Eve, Christmas Day. Okay, so the league is shut down for 3 days. Islanders come back. Everybody else comes back on Saturday. The Islanders are facing in a night where almost every team has a game. We'll get to one that didn't in a minute or two. The Islanders and Rangers are the first game of the night, 6:00 start. And again, you would not if you were wondering, oh my God, this is going to be a disaster. Everybody always like starts I think Clutterbuck was saying off the bat that like everybody kind of starts this first game back slow. Everybody's not, been sleeping late and eating good food for the last couple of days, and nobody really can get back into it that quickly. And it seemed that way for a little while. Bo Horvat did come back, thank God, because they could have used him. They scratched out a win. That was the other big thing about the Devils game was they did it without Horvat, which was great. But Anthony Duclair was scratched, which was a little bit weird. But even more weird is that they put Ilya Sorokin on IR, retroactive to December 12th. So he can come back as early. He could have come back as early as today, but he could come back on Tuesday or perhaps Thursday against Utah. Again, we'll talk about those in the second half. Before we get to this game and its final score, we have to talk about the national anthem, which was presented and played by 104-year-old World War II veteran Dominic Critelli on his soprano sax. And my favorite thing about this is not that this man is 104 years old and was a World War II veteran, but it is that he played this anthem, again, using the sweet, smooth, jazzy tones of the soprano sax, which, as far as I know, only makes smooth, silky, jazzy tones. It was awesome. It went a little bit viral in the hockey world. It was great. And all I got to say is, Kenny G, you better watch your ass because Dominic is coming for you. There's going to be two smooth jazz maestros out there, and one of them is 104 years old. This was awesome.
Oh, so good.
Very quickly, did you watch this? Did you hear about this? It was cool. And people were like, oh my God, that's the coolest thing ever, which the Islanders don't get all that often.
Oh, it's so cool. And I kind of wanted them to just be like, no, let him keep going. Because he seemed to still have some air in his lungs.
Yeah.
And one of my friends, Dylan, pointed out that you could see God Bless America on the back of his sheets. So just let him play that one and let him keep going and see what else he's got in his catalog. And
right.
I as someone who was a huge Band of Brothers fan and history, fiend, I read up on him a little bit and saw that he was involved in the Battle of the Bulge, which just like the Battle of the Bulge took place 28 years before the Islanders were even invented. So like this guy took a very
right.
He led a lot of lives before the Islanders were even a thing. And the only other thing I was thinking about was that if this was 2006 or 2003 at Nassau Coliseum, and they tried to do something like this, it would have like come out weeks later in Newsday that the guy was actually like 78 and the Islanders just like we're trying to pull a stunt or something. This was awesome. Really great way to start to welcome everyone back just from the holidays. Kind of stopped all of us it takes a lot to stop a household with soon to be 4-year-old and a baby, 1-year-old baby that's crawling around, but this one seemed to stop all of us in our tracks and was so cool. I hope that that they can kind of bring him back, maybe if there's a huge game, maybe playoffs or something, and he can just be their good luck charm. Move over, rubber chicken Elvis. we've got a 104-year-old Battle of the Bulge veteran. Yeah, him and General Patton were chums, so we got to get this guy back. So cool. And
definitely.
So tip of the cap for whoever put that together, and obviously went to Dominic, because that was awesome. And
he needs to just play at every game. Just have him play.
I mean, did you see that jersey, the 104 Critelli jersey?
Yeah.
I could. I'd like it 104 Critelli.
When it was announced that there was going to be a 104-year-old veteran do the anthem, I was like, he's going to sing. And then it came out, and I was like, no, wait, that's a soprano sax. And then again, he starts playing that sort of smooth jazz, like a smooth jazzy version of the anthem. You're like, dude, this is awesome.
and it took a little while for it to start too.
Right.
Like there was like this like little awkward silence in the beginning, and you're like, oh. And then as soon as he hit that first note, you're like, ooh, yeah. I wanted like the elevator doors to close and just like hang out in there with Dominic. Like he was awesome, but and I feel like the Islanders, much like when there's first NHL goal scored or stuff like that, the Islanders always find or a ceremony nights that the Islanders always find a way to lose those. And I was like, you cannot lose a game when you got a 104-year-old World War II veteran guy who fought in the Nazis at the Battle of the Bulge. You can't lose the game when this guy's rolling out of here with an Islander jersey that says 104 on it, and luckily they came through for Dominic.
Definitely, and if, I'm telling you right now, if Dominic wants to put out a record of Yacht Rock, I'll be the first person to buy it. But then it got even better. So that's the beginning of the game. It gets better because 15 seconds in, Anders Lee scores. He's standing in front and he goes roof on Igor Shesterkin. Goal 299 for Lee. 15 seconds in, you think, oh, this is a great start. The Islanders actually were the much better team in the first period. It got a little more wide open towards the end, but they came out to play it, and good on them. Again, it looked like they were going to run the Rangers out of town, but it was mostly Rangers in the second. As good as the Islanders were in the first, it was mostly Rangers in the second. But again, David Rittich was huge. I know you get used to hearing me say that. Still 1-0 after 2. They were better, but all of a sudden the penalties start. Rittich had to stop Carson Soucy, of all people, on a penalty shot. Easily the strangest penalty shot I've ever seen awarded. Nobody could understand why he was given a penalty shot. It was not a clear breakaway. It was maybe a slashing or a tripping penalty or something, but penalty shot, come on. Anyway, it was an easy stop for Rittich. Yeah, the Rangers get 2 power plays late. Some people in our Patreon chat were like, here we go, the bullshit Ranger power play where they win the game, which happens all the time. I thought of you because you're always saying that happens to them. But both got killed. Simon Holmstrom gets an empty net goal from distance, and the Islanders walk out with an enormous 2-0 win, the Rangers' 8th shutout of the season. We'll get to them in a second. Rittich, 27 saves, absolutely enormous. Shesterkin with 24. I am not a Rangers watcher, okay? So I'm not an expert by any means. But it occurs to me that a couple of things about the Rangers that may have contributed to the fact that they've been shut out 8 times this season. I think it's like 5 at home or 6 at home. One is that this entire lineup, outside of Igor Shesterkin, and I guess Artemi Panarin, although he's obviously having a down season, is to a man populated by nothing but scumbags and nobodies. And sometimes they're the same person. Who the fuck is Noah Laba? And why did he spend the first half of the first period trying to run over David Rittich? Like, he kept doing it to the point where I thought to myself, at some point, Rittich's going to come up swinging. Like, and he's going to be 100% justified in doing that. Like, who are these guys? And all they did was try to crash. That seems to be their only offensive play, is just crashing the net, trying to sit on the goalie and hoping something happens. Eventually, they started sort of counterattacking. And again, they were the better team in the second period. But like, by that point, Rittich was locked in. He wasn't letting anything in. And it was, the Islanders have not allowed a goal to the Rangers in 2 games this season. If that continues, I hope it does, that'll be, something to watch. But that team was just sad. I'm just looking at these guys and I'm like, what a team of greasy scumbags. Like, I just can't get over. These are the New York Rangers, the big glitzy, Jordache wearing, Phil Esposito, Mark Messier kind of guys that, are out partying at Scores in Manhattan. This is those guys? Really? All right, man. Whatever you, I don't know. This was a fun one, but obviously a nerve-wracking one. We were all kind of shooting a gold brick until Holmstrom hit that empty net. What'd you make of this one? And how much fun did you have once it was over? I saw some Ranger fans. I saw one Ranger fan on Reddit complaining that, they're acting like they won the Stanley Cup. But most of them were like, fire Chris Drury into the sun, which made me feel even better.
Right, yeah. This was that skin of the teeth kind of game, and it's been that way for a little bit with this team.
Right, against anybody.
Yeah, and but this thing just, they're the customary bullshit Rangers penalties, where they're either down 1 or tied in the third period. Of course, right. they get one. This was really a game of entitlement, I thought, from them too. Like, Will Cooley hits the post and then the other post and starts celebrating, and the ref's like, it's a goal. It's the Rangers.
Right.
Of course it is. If the Rangers want to celebrate like it's a goal, of course it's got to count. Meanwhile, like, Ryan Pollock's rushing the puck up the ice while the Rangers are celebrating, and the Islanders have like a developing 4-on-0, and they're like, I'm pretty sure the Rangers scored. They wouldn't lie. And she said, like, I was texting someone before the game saying that it you could kind of feel like the Islanders Rangers rivalry a little bit in this one. It's a Saturday night, first game back after the break. We got the 104-year-old Battle of the Bulger doing the national anthem. It felt like an event, and it's been a long time, I feel, since an Islanders-Rangers game has felt like an organic event. Of course, there's the Stadium Series, which we won't talk about, but that wasn't really, that's an NHL drum up pomp and circumstance situation. It is an event, but it's a little different. And then, so this one felt like it felt like there was going to be some teeth in this game. And I predicted before, I was like, I kind of want David Rittich to get ejected in this game. That's what I was hoping, like he was going to punch Sean Avery or Dale Purinton or Sandy McCarthy in the face. Like one of those kind of games, have Eric Cairns call someone a gutless puke and get the blood boiling again. And, but I'll take a 2-0 shutout against the no BS Rangers here. I'm happy that Vince Trocheck left the arena upset because I hate that guy. But the game went just completely bonkers, and it was really all down to the way it was officiated. Like when the Islanders I think they got the first 3 power plays of the game, I was like, I'm very uncomfortable with this because it's the Rangers, so we know that there's makeup calls in the air, and not only those makeup calls going to be makeup calls, with the Rangers, it's never a normal makeup call. It's either, but we got to give them a 5-on-3 here. Right. You'll never see a referee call 2 penalties on the same play against the team unless it's the Rangers. They're like, we got them both. Don't worry. Remember when Tyler Myers was like assaulting Max Shabanov because the Canucks were on a 5-on-3? If that was the Rangers that he was assaulting, they'd be like, nope, you're in the box too. It's going to be another 2-minute 5-on-3. Right. This game went off the rails. That penalty shot, honestly, ends up being a break for the Islanders because of who got the penalty shot. But what on earth was that?
Dude, nobody knows. It's crazy. It's crazy.
And it looked like they all, like the refs were like having a conversation after, like, you sure you want to do that? And he's like,
right.
And then there was the 2 penalties right at, like, there's 5 minutes left. The Islanders took 2 penalties in the final 5 minutes. Yeah. One of which was Bo Horvat, just reaching for a puck, and I don't know about that one, but they had to help the Rangers get something out of the game. They couldn't because of Big Save Dave. And I was alluding to it before in the opening of the show that there is an emergence of a cult hero here in Big Save Dave and Dave Rittich, and the fan base. This fan base really knows how to wrap its arms around a guy like that, and especially if he's a weirdo like us. And if Dave Rittich has showed us anything in our first 40 odd games of the Big Save Dave experience, it's that he is an absolute weirdo, and so are we. And so we're in this, together with you, Dave, and I totally apologize for doubting you. Because people were like, this guy's struggling during the preseason. And I'm like, oh, great. Varley, come back. Where are you, Varley? And once again, another reminder to not put any stock into any preseason performance from anybody. But he was just so good. If the shoe was on the other foot, right? If Big Save Dave was playing for the Rangers, and he was putting together a performance like that, I'd be pulling out my hair and being like, "Are you Dave Rittich? Are you fucking? You're not going to score against? Look at his pads. He's got a Simpson character on his. He's like punching people. This guy, but he was awesome, and he's just been a huge reason. Like if the Islanders didn't have his, if they didn't have Big Save Dave if they had just, rolled with the Hog, Marcus Hogberg, who's making some cameos here on the bench with Sorokin parentheses nagging injury. The Islanders are probably in some trouble, right? Big Save Dave has he's played 15 games. I don't know about including tonight, but 15 or so games, and he's won 9 of them, and he's gotten points in 11 of those 15. So they're getting 20 points from their backup goalie through his 15 starts. That is really important stuff when you're a team that's going to need basically every point it can get if they want to make this playoff push genuine. So, it's going to be one of those storylines that goes unnoticed by the hockey world at large, but one that Islander fans for years and years and years will be like, oh yeah, you remember that 25-26 season? Remember Dave Rittich was just lights out for us?
Yeah.
We talk about it when, guys like that all the time. The Dublowitz, of course, is the one that gets a lot of the shine from us, especially, but like, Thomas Grice when he first came here, and even Joey McDonald when like they had that year, he was like, he had some really good numbers, and we'll rally around guys like this and make you feel loved and show that we see what you're doing and understand the importance of it. And I think that Big Save Dave is feeling that right now. The only downside to all this is I know Lucas Dostal of the Ducks is a Czech goalie for the Czech Republic. I'm trying to think of some other ones, but do not take this man to the Olympics, please. We need him.
Right. You're 100% right that they've gotten way more out of their backup goalie than most teams do. And most, I don't think any of us expected him to be this good. It took him a while to get there, but he's been lights out, especially this week. And I have a special gift for David Rittich after we talk about the Columbus game. But that being said, they got to score more than 2 goals a game. Like 8 straight games, 7 straight games where they've only scored 2 goals. They need to give this man a little bit of help. And he is doing his part by far. But they need to do theirs as well. But I agree with you that he's becoming a folk hero. And not only was the game great, but I don't know if you got a chance to watch the post-game stuff. Rittich, and obviously he's Czech, and maybe there's like I guess a difference in communication or something like that. I think it's just his sense of humor, maybe, but he seems to have absolutely no time for post-game media shenanigans or like kind of questions that maybe sort of dance around some kind of weird angle that the writer has, that maybe they're working on a story that does this, that, the other thing, as opposed to just, we play today, we win today, that's it. The old Mariano Duncan line from the Yankees. That seems to be David Rittich's mantra. We play today, we win today, that's it. He didn't want to talk about getting shutouts. He didn't want to talk about playing against the Rangers. He didn't want to talk about the significance of the game after the break. He didn't want to talk about any of that shit. He just came in and was like, we got the win, and that's it. And he didn't seem to understand why anybody wanted to ask him anything else or why he was answering questions at all. And I love that about him. I love that. Yeah, he sat down with Shannon Hogan again. She asked him a couple of questions. She asked him something, again, like, what does this feel like? And he just kind of like, motioned to the crowd like, oh, this is what it's all about, which is kind of like, I think, a cool thing for him to say. But he seemed to have no time for anything. Like I think it was Ethan Sears asked a question, and he was just looked at him like, okay, if you say so. It's like, all right, whatever. Like, he just doesn't have any time for this crap. And he's just here to win games and give the Islanders what they need. And he has been doing that with aplomb. So great game. Again, the Islanders have not given up a game. I should say a great win, an excruciating game to watch, but a lot of fun after it was over. And again, the Islanders have not given up a goal to the Rangers yet this season. So let's keep that streak going. Okay. Great Saturday night. Everybody's happy. At least we are happy. But the Islanders have a game on Sunday. Another 23-hour turnaround back-to-back with travel. This time they are in Columbus to face the Blue Jackets, who are dead last in the conference and everything. And at first, it clearly looks like the Islanders don't have it. Oh, right. Duclair was back in, and Cal Ritchie was scratched. I don't think we got an explanation for this. I think he was just scratched. Unfortunately, losing a center was going to be, maybe something that didn't really work out all that well for them. And Rittich played both games. I get where Patrick Waugh is coming from. He's obviously been playing great. I still don't like when goalies play back-to-back games. He was not the problem in this game. But again, the Islanders just could not put any goals on the board, although they did have a lead. So they had a slow start. Kirill Marchenko gets past Adam Pelech, goes short side on Rittich, makes it 1-0 Columbus. Then a little bit later, JG Pageau has a shot go off of Jet Greaves' shoulder, I guess, somewhere in that neighborhood. Kind of ends up trickling through. Shabanov was credited for it. I'm not sure why or how. Anyway, the game is tied at 1, similar to the wandering Markstrom play from the Devils game. Wasn't great, but we'll take it. And towards the end of the game, Mason Marchment took a penalty for hitting Matt Schaefer kind of high up towards the boards. Remember that, because in the second period, Marchment trips Schaefer at center ice. Matt Barzal does not like this, slashes at Marchman's feet. He goes down as if he has just been stabbed. There's a melee that ensues. Schaefer is getting into it with somebody. I think Adam Fantilli was the guy he grabbed. I'm not even sure. Barzell is given a game misconduct. Marchman is given 2 for tripping. The Columbus game ops crew is playing Hit the Road Jack by Ray Charles as Barzell is removed and is booing, the penalty to Marchman as if he didn't literally just trip Schaefer at center ice. I don't know what people are thinking doing this. I mean, I don't know what they're supposed to do, but like Barzell, I think, was pretty justified in his anger. I know I was pissed off, but in any event, after all that, oh, by the way, Adam Pelech then takes a tripping penalty immediately at the beginning of this power play. But after all that, everything gets killed, and Bo Horvat finds himself with some space, shoots a wrister in, makes it 2-1 Islanders, his 20th of the year. It's very cool. They ended up finishing the period strong after those scuffles happened. Cal mentioned on the broadcast that they seemed to wake the Islanders up. But then in the third period, they clearly ran out of gas. It was, I think, about 5 or 6 minutes to go. Columbus scores 2 goals in a minute and a half, or a minute and 15 seconds. Ivan Provorov from the point. And then Marchenko kind of sneaks a backhander past Rittich. Probably really the only goal he'd like to have back. He's given up all week. In a blink of an eye, it's 3-2 Columbus. Cole Sillinger makes it 4-2 with an empty net goal. That's how it would end. I turned it off after that empty net goal. I didn't even watch the rest of it. And like we said right off the top, a shitty way to end a week, a hard back-to-back with travel in just an impossible spot for these guys. And the fact that they were, 6 minutes from winning the game is really a testament to how gritty this team is. But they clearly ran out of juice, out of gas. Rittich made 30 saves. He did all he could. Jack Reeves made 24. He was very good, but he was barely tested at all in the third period. The Islanders just basically stopped playing offense at one point. Their power play went 0-2, which felt like 0-12. And I mean, they went 0-5 in the Rangers game. So that's 0-7 over the course of a weekend. This is not good. I want to get back to the power play in a second. They need goals. They needed to kill Mason Marchment. I'm kind of surprised that they didn't. We talked a little bit about this before, but that penalty, man, like he was literally out there trying to injure Matt Schaefer. And you could be like, oh, no, he wasn't. He was just penalty. I think he was trying to injure Matt Schaefer. And I don't think he's the first guy to do that this season. And Barzell just couldn't take it anymore, and he slashed him. And, that wasn't a great play by Barzell, but I get it. And the game just unfolded in a more frustrating. I mean, even though they took the lead, it just ended in a very frustrating way, and it just really sucks. I want to get back to Rittich and the power play in a minute, but anything else to say about this one other than the fact that it's just a shitty way to end the week?
Yeah, I would say it was a great play by Barzell. Like that's the type of, I was texting some guys who cover the Leafs during that, and I was like, has a Leaf ever done that? And that this person said no, and it's something that Mitch Marner or one of those guys should have done hundreds of times during their tenure, because you don't have to fight somebody to be like, hey, dude, like, we're on you now. Like, you just take a piece of flesh and whatever way you want, and be gone. And it's I think that's a sign of a healthy team, especially if that is Matt Barzell, right? Like it wasn't Kyle McLean or in years past, someone like Cal Clutterbuck or even someone like Scott Mayfield, or hell, it wasn't David Rittich, right? Like it was Matt Barzell who did this. And I think that sends a message to the teammates too, more than just the other team. Like, guys, like, I'm not going to fight Mason Marchment, but I'm going to do something about this because it has to stop. It's something that's been going on. And look, we're going to have to get used to it. If Matthew Schaefer was on the Detroit Red Wings or something, like if the Islanders were pulling these kind of hijinks, we'd be like, well, like that's, life in the big city kind of stuff. That's just how it goes. And, but when he's on your team and you see it from this way, obviously you feel very differently about it. And I like you, I think, I mean, that's as dirty a play as you can do at the blue line, stick your leg out like that. And, you're one stride away from knee on knee and just wrecking this guy's season and putting some jeopardy into his career and all that. And he just got to Columbus, right? Like, it's not like, and this is the first time, or I guess second time because they played the Kraken, but this is the second time you ever played against this guy. It's not like Matthew Schaefer and Mason Marchment have history or anything like that, right? So it was pretty clear what he was doing, and obviously his reputation precedes him, his pedigree so to speak, I guess precedes him too, given who his late father was. Brian Marchment was no stranger to these kind of
Right.
tomfoolery during his career. And I would say that Matt Barzell had Adam Pelech not scored that goal, that would have been my pick for Vanda Pharmaceutical shot of the week. Because I think that was really important and much more very worth the ejection. If there's a suspension, I'll be pretty upset. But I'll pay the fine. I'm sure Islander fans would all pay this kind of fine for that. And it really made me think that and we kind of laughed off this notion earlier in the season, and a lot of people have, because if you suggest rostering an enforcer, it's it's essentially a war crime. You got to get sent to the Hague, and you're not allowed to watch hockey ever again. But I do think that there is a little bit of merit to the and I'm not saying the Islanders should do it because they're already running out of room on the roster, but there's some merit to it, especially if it's like the 1990s, 2000s form of the enforcer, like the straight up goon kind of guy. Eric Bolton, Mitch Fritz, Trevor Gillies, the absolute psychopaths on your roster that just play 2 minutes, 2:30, skate around. They're literally there for one reason, and that's to make sure that nobody touches Matthew Schaefer. I really wouldn't mind if the Islanders were just like, yeah, we're signing Mitch Fritz to a PTO, and and we're just going to essentially dress 11 forwards and have Mitch Fritz sit at the end of the bench. And if Mason Marchment wants to go near Matthew Schaefer again, we're just going to make sure that Zenon Konopko or Mitch Fritz or whoever just pummels him into next week. Because someone needs to do something at some point. Like it's gonna continue, and until it gets nipped in the bud. So, I really don't have the answer here, but I'm incredibly proud of Matt Barzell, who we say it all the time. Like he's a bigger Islander fan than anybody, and he was just acting like an Islander fan would in that situation.
Yeah, no, I'm 100% in agreement, and somebody does need to do something. I don't know if a goon or a fighter is necessarily the right way to go, but you're right. Somebody needs to do something, not only just about the liberties that are being taken with Matthew Schaefer, because the Rangers were doing it. Pretty sure the Devils were. Somebody else recently in another game was doing it. And I was like, okay, so the book is out that like, we're just going to bully this kid, this 18-year-old kid, until he, I don't know, curls up into a ball. Like, I don't really know what they expect him to do. But also, like I mentioned before, the crashing of the net. Like, at some point, you have to teach these guys that, like, you can't just run into our goalie like that, because at some point, somebody's going to get hurt. But there's another way to make a team think twice about doing this stuff, and that is to just score on the fucking power play. Like, this to me is a bigger problem than the, Matthew Schaefer is getting run conversation. This team cannot score on the power play. They had a little stretch there where it was working. Now it is back to not working. And I'm going to say something controversial. Maybe it's not the power play coach. Like, Ray Bennett is what, the 6th power play coach they've had under, 3 different head coaches now. Remember, it was Scott Gomez for a while. It was, who was it last year? It wasn't Tommy Albaline. It was, it was John McClain. It was all these different guys, and the result is all the same. For some reason, this team refuses to score on the power play. I don't know if they're just stultified or stiff or whatever it is, but going 0-for-5 in a game is bad. They won against the Rangers. Okay, whatever. Today, they only had 2 power plays, but they came at crucial points. And had they scored on one of them, this is a different game. And all of a sudden it's 3-1 or whatever. Maybe they end up winning 4-1. Like, that is the easiest way to make teams think twice about just running you, because they know that if you give them a penalty, they're just going to score. This team can't do that. And I didn't have a problem with Duclair getting scratched. I thought it was okay, considering that, he's hadn't really played all that well. He missed an opportunity in the Columbus game. He was all mad about it on the bench. Drouin had a wide open net against the Rangers, missed it wide, or I think he went high over Shesterkin. They showed him on the bench, like banging his stick against the bench. That's all fine and good. You guys need to start putting the puck in the net. Like, somebody other than Bo Horvat and Matt Barzell And Matt Schaefer, who has slowed down a little bit, let's be honest, he played 28 minutes against the Rangers. Schaefer did 28 minutes. And I think he played the same today. I wouldn't be surprised if he played more or less the same today. Like, somebody else has got to score goals on this team. And it can't be these guys. Anders Lee has chipped in his 10. I want to see him get to, 25 or whatever and pass Clark Gillies, pass Dennis Potvin. That'll all be cool. But like, this team needs a power play that functions. Or somebody to just walk onto the ice and beat people up if they're going to try to, one or the other. And it's probably easier to get a guy to beat people up, but like, I would like to see them score goals because this is becoming a huge, huge, huge problem. They fixed the penalty kill. Bob Bugner, congratulations. You have fixed the penalty kill. I don't know how you did it, but you did it. The power play, though, is still an enormous problem. If this team misses the playoffs, and again, like I said off the top, still anybody's game in the East, I have a feeling that the power play is going to be an enormous reason why. And you're going to look back and be like, well, yeah, they had, 150 power plays and they scored on 20 of them. Like, and you get 20 more goals, all of a sudden, all these 2-1 losses change. Like, am I crazy? Am I making too much of this? Or is this,
no,
is this something that bothering you too?
Oh, it's driving me up a wall because I'm back to where I was last year, which was like, oh, they got a power play. I don't have any reason to be excited. Right. As you said, for a little while there, the power play was going all right. And
yeah,
I genuinely started looking forward to power plays for the first time in years. I was like, oh, great, Islanders power play. This is awesome. And the broadcast is still trying to do its best. Yeah, they're getting chances. They're getting looks. They're doing everything but score, which is, yeah, most power plays do that because they're up a man. So you move it around and it looks good because you're up a man and you're going to have an advantage, which is, well, that's the point of the damn things. And something needs to change. And this was, I think, part of the problem last year was like when it was clearly wasn't working, whatever they were trying, they were pretty reluctant to shift things around. And it does seem like maybe they're a little more open to trying some stuff out, but Cal Ritchie was up on the first unit, and they like swapped him and Drouin, and didn't really work. And but it does seem like they have the three pillars of a good power play, which is Schaefer at the point, Barzal is the kind of rover guy on the half wall looking to open up the D, and Bo Horvat in the bumper. What's a little strange here is that they have Anders Lee, who's just one of the better net front guys in the league on the second unit, and then I would maybe suggest putting him up on that one and going more into a traditional, like, let's get funnel pucks towards the net and try to just bank some off of his chin or whatever. But the other problem is that they don't have that threat on the other side. They're now starting to put Heinem in there. He's shooting the puck more. Hasn't really worked yet on the power play, but they haven't really had a threat on the side opposite of Barzal, because they've got like a poor man's Barzal in Jonathan Drouin usually on the other side. And he's certainly, he had a good kind of feisty start to the season. Then he got hurt. He's been a little, invisible lately. Would like to see more from him. And I thought, if I was to scratch anybody from when Bo Horvat came back, I would probably have went with him over Duclair, because I thought Duclair was settling in nicely into his role and starting to put things together. But yeah, they like between Drouin, Duclair, Holmstrom, you can even put Shabanov in this mix, although I think I like Shabanov as kind of the wild card on the second unit, like Barzal is on the first. Like they just don't have that weapon on the other side, and they need one. Like they need somebody so that teams can't say, well, there's Barzal, there's Horvat, and there's Schaefer. We don't really need to worry about much else here because the other guy isn't shooting from over there. We know Barzal is probably not going to shoot from there. What can we do? Well, we can just stop the two guys, the guy at the top, Schaefer, and the guy in the bumper, Horvat, because those are the guys that are going to beat us. And teams are keying in on that, and they need to sort that out and find somebody for that other role. So it's as you said, I don't think this is on the coach anymore. How many Stanley Cup winning Devils do you have to fire before you just put it on the players? So yeah, unless Grant Marshall's walking in that door to just take over, this is on the players, and they've got to sort it. They got to sort it out. You're right.
Yeah.
Because I'll say it this way: this is a playoff team. Like, this is a good, especially in this season. This isn't a playoff caliber team. They're probably on merit and on paper like the 6th best team in the Eastern Conference, and the gap between them and first in the Eastern Conference is not that large.
Right.
But just because you're a playoff caliber team or you're good enough to be a playoff team doesn't mean you get into the playoffs. And it's things like a power play that goes 0 for 7 in a back-to-back when you can't score more than 2 goals a game that sinks your season. So yeah, they gotta sort it out. I don't know what the answer is, because I can't. I'm not saying they should put Ryan Pollock on the other side. We've tried that before, but they got to figure something out to give the power play a new dimension, so that they can actually have it be a weapon. And as you said, I mean, I'm leaning towards the goon fixed at this point, just because I'm mad. I'm pretty ticked off about what Mason Marchment did tonight, and I would love to see, Steve Webb or whoever feed him Joel Recklitz. What's Joel Recklitz up to? Can he come suit up for a couple minutes a night? Right. I would love to see that happen. And it's just an absurd thing that happened in the NHL, that they literally these guys would just skate around, play 3 shifts a night, and then sit on the bench unless they fought. But I mean, a working power play would be another way to punish people for 2-handing or slew-footing Matthew Schaefer every night, because this has to stop.
Yeah, tell me about it. I agree. Real quick before we break here and then go into the second half, I mentioned before that I have an award I want to give David Rittich. Obviously, the Vanda Pharmaceuticals Shot of the Week has taken off in popularity against, to my major surprise. I did not expect that to happen. But Vanda Pharmaceuticals is not the only sponsor that the Islanders have on their uniforms. Have you noticed this season that on their helmets it says Viam? Do you know what Viam is? I had to look this up. Do you have any idea?
Feels like it's got to be some sort of insurance company, right?
No, it is. You're way off. It is. They make software for robotics companies and robotics projects and AI and stuff like that, which I thought is kind of cool. And much like Vanda Pharmaceuticals, kind of a little bit scary. So I was like, well, what am I going to do for this? So I have decided that we are going to do every week. We have the Vanda Pharmaceuticals Shot of the Week. We are also going to have the Viam Cyborg of the Week. Everybody loves a good cyborg. $6 Million Man, Terminator, Small Wonder, Inspector Gadget, Cyborg from DC Comics. They're all cyborgs. We all love a good cyborg. Every week, some Islander has got to put in a cyborg-like performance. And this week, it is none other than the great David Rittich, our first ever Viam Islanders Cyborg of the Week. Congratulations, David, on an award you definitely don't care about. But there you go. So I thought that was kind of funny. So yeah, I love a good cyborg. Yeah. Terminator. Yeah, definitely.
And what a way to get it started. I feel like he's just going to win it every week.
He might. It's possible. Adam Pelech could win it one of these weeks. Somebody has like a really tough performance. I could see like Casey Cizikas getting this. That's the kind of thing he would do too. So we will see who is, in fact, at the end of the year, the most gets the most Viam Cyborgs of the Week. I'm not going to keep track. Hopefully somebody does. But in any event, there you go. Okay, we're going to take a break. We're going to come back. We're going to talk about the 3 games coming up this week, including one against another one of our most hated teams. And then we're going to have a little bit more fun with them at the end. So meet us on the other side. Thanks. And now a word from our sponsors. VintageIceHockey.com. Over 100 classic hockey logos on t-shirts, jerseys, hats, mugs, and more. Long Island Ducks, Albany Riverettes, Danbury Trashers, Kentucky Thoroughblades, and so many more. Plus a full line of Islanders Anxiety merch, with our portion of the sales going directly to the Center for Dementia Research. These incredible items cannot be found in stores, so shop VintageIceHockey.com today. Relax, sit back, and enjoy wine from The Pinot Project. Rosé, Pinot Grigio, or a Pinot Noir that was named a Best Buy by Wine Enthusiast magazine. These wines are delicious, affordable, and available at area wine shops and at UBS Arena. Learn more at thepinotproject.com. And please, drink responsibly.
This episode is presented by State Farm. Having insurance isn't the same as having State Farm. It's like needing the protection of an offensive guard on the football field, but getting an elementary school crossing guard. Sure, they're both guards, but you can only trust one to keep your quarterback safe when the game is on the line. So don't settle for just any insurance when there's State Farm. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Here's my 30-second story with Guinness. As soon as my sister and I get home for the holidays, we don't even unpack. We head straight to our pub. The bartender already knows our order, Guinness and fries. We laugh all night, catch up with old friends, and walk home with faces sore from smiling. It's one of my favorite nights of the year. That was my 30-second story with Guinness.
Guinness Draft Stout. Please enjoy responsibly. Imported by Diageo Beer Company, USA, New York, New York.
Hello, I'm Diane Morgan. If you know who I am, you know who I am. If you don't, who cares? I'm here to explain Italian Time, a holiday phenomenon where Italians throw away their clocks and gather for eternity with San Pellegrino. I've been at this party so long that I've eaten 5 courses, hugged someone's grandma twice, and been offered a job in the family restaurant. So this holiday season, make sure to bring enough San Pellegrino to last you through the meal, the after meal, and the entire goodbye ritual. San Pellegrino, holiday on Italian Time.
When evaluating potential hires for your small business, it's essential you look beyond resumes. Sure, a candidate may appear impressive on paper, but understanding the person is crucial. LinkedIn, the world's largest professional network, provides a complete view of your candidate's skills, experiences, and interests. With LinkedIn's up-to-date data, you can be confident that you really know who you're hiring. Post your free job at linkedin.com/achieve. That's linkedin.com/achieve. Terms and conditions apply.
Game's over. Time to check my fantasy scores.
You using a VPN?
Why?
Because using public Wi-Fi without a VPN is like leaving your wallet open on the table.
Oh. Time to up my defense.
McAfee Secure VPN keeps your personal information private and is included in all McAfee plans starting at just $39.99 for your first year. Sign up at McAfee.com/online protection.
Okay, real quick, a couple of things going on. Obviously, you're listening to this right now. Tomorrow at the Patreon, that being Tuesday, my final Islanders book club of 2025 appears at the Patreon for Country Club tier subscribers only. It's an interesting book that is long out of print and has some voices that have passed away, but I thought it was pretty cool. That's it for us this week. Last week, we put out a brand new Weird Islanders, the podcast with our friend Matt Strauss. It's a 2-man episode, as I said. Both Parker Wotherspoon and Dmytro Timashov. And if you remember either of those guys playing for the Islanders recently, congratulations, because I don't think a lot of people do. We also put out a Weird Islanders extra with Matt talking about the goal song. A lot of people were intrigued by his selection of who should do the Islanders goal song, a Long Island-based artist that I had never heard of, but a lot of people have and would like to hear that. So maybe that'll get happening. But that'll be a lot of fun. So check that out if you haven't. I know it's weird, the holiday weekend, but go back and listen to that. And again, book club this week. We'll be back next week on Sunday after normal time because they don't have a game next Sunday. So I'll be ready for that. Okay. So the Islanders have 3 games this week to close out 2025. Tuesday night, they are in Chicago at 8:30 p.m. That's because Central Time. And then they have New Year's Eve off. And then New Year's Day, they are back at home hosting Utah Hockey Club / Mammoth at 3. That's a 3 o'clock start on New Year's Day. So if you have any family members staying, kick them out. Make sure you watch the game at 3 o'clock. And then on Saturday at 7, they are once again hosting the much hated Toronto Maple Leafs. I want to park the Leafs for a second. Let's focus on Chicago and Utah right away. Chicago got pumped by the Penguins tonight, 7-3. Thanks a lot, guys. They started out hot this season. Then Connor Bedard got hurt, and they have completely come off the rails. I think Bedard is back, maybe, but the Blackhawks are still offline to this point. And as far as Utah goes, again, started out great, kind of came back down to earth, and you may remember them from the overtime win that the Islanders had. Matthew Schaefer's first ever overtime goal. It was a historic one. He was the youngest player ever to do that. these are two games the Islanders can win. And after the last game, after tonight's game, they really should probably do that. Overtime is fine, but get some points against these guys. I know their record in Chicago isn't great. That was the game that cost Lane Lambert his job a couple of years ago.
Yes.
And they've already got one loss to Utah that we remember, which was last year's home opener. So they can reverse both those trends and get some valuable points back in both those games. Anything you're looking forward to in these games, or any ideas you have for either of them?
Yeah, I mean, it's the Islanders have had a really hard schedule.
Yes.
We've talked about this. That like their strength of schedule, I'm not sure if it still is holding true now, but I guess towards the middle of the month was the hardest in the league, and their strength of schedule for the rest of the way is the weakest, because that's what happens. Everything's supposed to meet in the middle. So I feel like this Blackhawks game is like the first game I'm looking at where there's no weird schedule machinations, like 22-hour back-to-back against a team like Columbus, where you're like, we usually should beat them, but the schedule sucks. And I'm looking at this one like, yeah, you want to be a playoff team, you take the 2 points from the Blackhawks. You just do. You have to.
Right.
They're falling apart at the seams. They got, like you said, they got crushed tonight, so maybe they get the coach peeled the paint effort. But even so, like you gotta win this game against them. You got to just go in there and be the better team. If you're going to be a playoff team, there are just nights where you're going to have to do that. So that's how I look at that one. And then, yeah, I mean, the run of weird start times continue for the season, which is outrageous. I mean, we're going to have to go back and count how many I missed the 7:30 starts, but the 7 o'clock starts are the normal, the quote unquote normal start time for the Islanders this year. I think they've had like 7 out of 40 games. And because we're looking at 6 o'clock for some reason yesterday against the Rangers, 5 o'clock for some reason today against the Blue Jackets. You get the 8:30 start, which is a normal one for the Blackhawks, but not for the Islanders. And then 3 o'clock against the Mammoth at home on New Year's Eve to make sure everyone can get to their, or on New Year's Day to make sure everyone can get sleep before after being out all night, I guess. I don't know. I've got no idea why. That's a 3 o'clock game.
Yeah.
It's a holiday. Maybe, get kids in the building. All more power to you. But it's just been a bizarre. It's almost like the season hasn't even started yet because of the way the schedule, like the schedule started. It feels very like split squad. Like I feel like half the Islanders are going to play a different game against the Flyers on Thursday at 3 p.m. But yeah, I mean, these, as you said, two games, you're going to be the favorite to win. You got to just take care of business. I mean, I've developed a serious distaste for the Utah Mammoth because of their owner. The NHL wants to be in the Ryan Smith business, Friege. And so hopefully it can beat the marketing arm of Qualtrics or whatever the hell the Utah Mammoth are. And I mean, these I mean, we'll talk about the Leafs much more in depth.
Yeah.
But all 3 of these games are very winnable. And
yes,
we want this team to just push over the hump, get over the hump, become that team that is now 8 points clear of the playoff cut line. And we can all be like, okay, we're in. Let's get into playoff mode. Let's start thinking about how we're going to, clear our schedules in April and May, and taking, working your vacation days and family time and responding to weddings. Like, I don't know if I'm coming yet because the Islanders might be in the Stanley Cup. Like, let's get into that mode. And the way you get there is by picking up 2 points against teams you're supposed to pick up 2 points against, starting in Chicago. And as you said, this has been like a little bit of a House of Horrors situation with the Islanders and the Blackhawks.
Yeah.
During the Blackhawks' demise, they're giving the Islanders issues. I mean, that game last year was just an absolute chore, right? That was the one where the Blackhawks, they did what the Blue Jackets kind of did to us. They scored a late goal to win in regulation, if I don't forget.
Right.
It was a very soft goal by Sorokin, if I remember correctly. And then, as you said, right, I was in Mexico. I remember on vacation, praying to the old gods that the Islanders would find a way, and they lose to the Blackhawks while I'm down there. And I come home, and those old gods said, "Yeah, here's Patrick Roy."
Yeah.
So they've sent us some weird losses lately.
Yeah. Yeah, so let's not do that. Let's let's finish the calendar year with a win, and then start the next calendar year with another win as well. And I'm glad you mentioned, by the way, that it's been 40 games. So the game on the 30th is game 40, and then the game against Utah is game 41. So that is the exact halfway point of the season. And yeah, it would be nice for the Islanders to be, 6 points or 4 points up in a playoff spot at that point. Because then that would show a lot of people that, like, hey, you know what, this team's not going away. And they can ride that out until hopefully the Olympic break. We might see, by the way, the Olympic teams are being named on New Year's Eve. So Bo Horvat might hear his name. Matthew Schaefer might hear his name. I've seen people be like, Schaefer needs a break. He doesn't need a trip to Italy. And I can see that. That's possible. Even if he does go, I can't imagine he gets a ton of playing time. It's probably more for the experience. But I don't know. We'll see. I can't imagine the oldest of old boy networks takes an 18-year-old kid with them to the Olympics, but we'll have to see. Okay, so those two games are what they are. I mean, the Blackhawks are both the Western Conference teams. Just get the points any way you can. Saturday is a different animal. We all know what it's like when the Leafs come to play at UBS Arena. I don't expect John Tavares to not hear boos when he touches the puck. And something occurred to me that kind of blew my mind a little bit. So Matthew Schaefer, born September 2007. John Tavares, drafted by the Islanders in June 2009, drafted first overall by the Islanders. July 1st of 2018, John Tavares leaves the Islanders to sign with the Toronto Maple Leafs as a free agent. So in July of 2018, Matthew Schaefer is like a little over 10 and a half years old. He's not quite 11 years old yet. And if he's a kid from Toronto, grew up a Leafs fan, no fault in that. Totally get it. But I'm thinking that if he's like most people, that year of sort of like 9, 10, 11 is where you really start to grab those sports fandom tendrils, and you get fully invested. And I got to imagine that if you're a 10-year-old kid who likes the Leafs and is a Leafs fan, and they sign this guy, John Tavares, who has a terrific first season, obviously, for the Leafs, I got to think that's a pretty important moment for you as a fan and as a kid. And here we are in what's going to be, January of 2026. Matthew Schaefer is now a first overall pick for the Islanders and playing against the Maple Leafs, which would be weird enough, but also playing against John Tavares, again, who I'm assuming he saw a sign with the Leafs and was probably excited about. Again, I'm casting all this on him. So I'm bringing this up because this is a big game for us. It's always a big game, when the Leafs come to town for us because of the Tavares thing. But I hope somebody sits Schaefer down and explains to him why this is a big deal and shows him maybe that game, the return game, the game you were at, the February 2019 game where he played at Nassau Coliseum and the place was out for blood. It's one of the most important Islanders games of our time. The Islanders kicked their ass. What was it, 6-2 or whatever it was? And I just hope somebody makes it very clear as to why fans acted that way, why they were so mad, why we were mad at him leaving and the whole thing. And I hope they impress upon him the importance of that game. Not that I think he necessarily needs it, but I think it's important context for him going into this first game against the Leafs at UBS Arena. I'm going to get back to sort of how the media is going to frame this game in a little bit, but that kind of blew my mind that this kid, he was basically a year and a half old when the Islanders drafted Tavares, and then he was basically 10 and a half years old when he left the Islanders, which I was like, man, that's important time. I mean, you talk all the time about that 2002 team, which is basically when you were like 12, right? It was 2001, so you were 11 too. And I mean, I was 11 in 1987, which is about the time I started going to see games too. So that's an important year for a sports fan. And I don't know if that was important for Matthew Schaefer, but Saturday is going to be important to him as well for a few reasons. But I don't know. That was kind of crazy. I don't know if you thought about it that way. I'm thinking way too much about Matthew Schaefer's birthday.
No,
to be honest with you.
This is the kind of stuff that we excel at, I would say. This is why people come to us, because they probably had this thought. In fact, I know one of our loyal listeners, Matthew, has pointed this out to me, that he probably watched that return game and was like, holy shit, Islander fans are absolute animals. I hate them. And because then he, as a 10-year-old Leaf fan, that's what you're thinking. And
probably
he's right. We are. And he's seeing that we're animals. In when you're on the side of the line, where you're gonna turn into one of us. You're gonna turn into an animal just like us. Just ask Matt Barzell, who two-handed somebody in the foot today. So I think he's just as you say, we're projecting this on this 18-year-old, which is strange, but that's what sports do to you. Just a couple middle-aged dads.
Right.
Projecting their own insecurities and anxieties on an 18-year-old
boy
stranger.
Yes.
Yeah. It's that if we can kind of read his personality correctly and his like commitment to the cause correctly, which it seems pretty full-throated, I would say he's probably really excited about learning about this, and he's living with a guy who was played for both sides of the rivalry and came back to the Islanders for when Tavares left and was part of that game, and
right.
We'll hear all about it. I'm sure he'll get regaled the tales of the Coliseum, and it's that night was just absolutely bonkers. It was like one of the it wasn't the loudest you've ever heard an arena, but it was certainly the angriest I think I've ever heard one. And so I think he's probably, as much as he heard about the Rangers rivalry before the first game against the Rangers, he'll probably hear about this and that game, and he'll probably remember it. He's going to be on YouTube looking at some of the old stuff, but it is weird, and as you said, like this thing is going to be framed pretty funny on
yes
by the parachuters who are coming down to the island to cover this monumental game, which will be hockey night in Canada.
Yeah.
So that I think that's the first time since, because that Tavares return game I believe it wasn't a Saturday night. I don't think actually. But I think this might be the first hockey night we get. So you can expect that Ron, Friedge, Bieksa, and all the guys will be chatting about this on, I think, what do they call their segment? Every segment on any show has the same name. It's either like The Point or Tape to Tape or whatever. So during the first intermission, they'll be dissecting Islander fans and whether or not they should be banned from getting back into the building ever again because they booed this man 8 years on.
And we're still booing him, and we will continue to boo him.
Oh, I can't wait to boo him. I hope I'm like 50-50 to get there, and I only want to go there because I want to yell at this guy.
Hey, I mean, listen, the Islanders are trying to sell tickets. If that's what works,
right? Come yell at this man.
Right. But I'm glad you brought it up because I was going to get here. So, I mean, listen, the Leafs have not had a great season. I expect the Islanders to, play them as well as they've played anybody. They can win. I mean, this isn't a given or anything. No team in this league is a given anymore. But, I think the Leafs lost tonight in overtime in Detroit. So, I mean, this is a team that the Islanders can definitely beat. Yes, they've got good goaltending, but so do the Islanders. It would be a great time for guys like Drouin and Duclair to, exert themselves and get some goals on the board. Cal Ritchie, if he's in, hopefully get something going there. So like we can talk about the game itself a lot, but it's neither here nor there. The Islanders are either, whether they win or they lose, it doesn't really matter because the way it's going to be framed is that the one-time first overall pick of the Islanders is playing the current or last first overall pick of the Islanders. And what's going to happen is they're going to talk to John Tavares and they're going to say, have you had a chance to talk to Matthew Schaefer? Have you had a chance to meet him? Have you given him any advice as to what it's like being a first overall pick of the Islanders and first overall pick? And he's going to say all the normal classic things he always says, you got to embrace it and enjoy it. I love my time there. It was a great place to play. I really grew up there. They're a great fan base. They're passionate about their team, blah, blah, blah. And then again, win or lose, it doesn't really matter. The story is going to be that John Tavares is this classy, wonderful guy, and this fan base doesn't deserve him. And they've got a new guy now who, if he leaves, they're going to hate just as much as they hate John Tavares, and that's going to be the story. That's going to be the only story that matters. Again, the Islanders can win 8-1, or they can lose 1-0. It doesn't really matter what happens in the game. That's going to be the story. That Tavares was this classy guy who the Islanders fans threw aside because they didn't like that he signed with another club, and now they've got this new guy who hopefully everything works out for him. But just so you know, these people are assholes. Like that's what it's going to be. And I just hope that it's. I'm already annoyed by it because we already know what Tavares is going to say.
Right,
it's a great fan base. It's a great place to play. I had a wonderful time there. Blah blah. And they're going to look at how wonderful he is, and he's taken the high road. Get ready to count the times the words high road are used before and after this game. It's like, look at how he's taking the high road, and these people still hate him. They're still burning his jersey. It's like, yeah, it's because we care. Like, we care. We cared about this guy. We fucking love this guy. And he was like, I'm going to go play with these other guys. And, that other team is like in second to last place in the conference right now. Hopefully that trend continues as well. But I'm already preemptively annoyed at how this is going to be played, because I know that myself and I know you and other people that we know are going to be reading this crap and listening to this crap. Maybe I'll skip the Leafs podcast those weeks unless they win, in which case I will definitely listen to them.
Yeah.
But it's going to be unbearable. It's going to be absolutely unbearable.
Yeah. Yeah. We're once again another thing we're experts at. This is about. It's far from a marketable skill as you can get. Like, oh yeah, no, I have a pretty good finger on the pulse of the Toronto Maple Leafs media and what stories are going to come down the pipe from them 4 days in advance. Promote me. You nailed it. This is exactly how it's going to go. Hey John, Luke Fox Jukebox here. Did you reach out to Matthew Schaefer as a former number 1 overall pick? I know Sid gave him a jersey, and a couple of other people around the league have offered him well wishes throughout his first season. Did you? I reached out through my agent Pat Brazon to wish him the best and tell him that he's in a good spot on Long Island, and then just that is going to be a huge story. Tavares did reach out to fellow number 1 Islander draft pick Matthew Schaefer, and as you said, this is going to be high road week. It's going to be high road week. This is going to be it's going to be something, and we can only hope that when the mics go in the other direction, because once again, this is Hockey Night in Canada. It's the Leafs, so we're going to have a huge media contingent in UBS Arena for this. You're going to have Kyle giving out the towel. You're going to have the guys that we make fun of.
You're going to have David Amber covering his 380th straight Leafs game.
Yeah, David Alter. David Alter. Yeah, David Alter. Yeah, he's now tipped into. Look that story up, please. It's hilarious. Right. The whole traveling circus will be there, and they'll be having their the tattletale in your third grade classroom who's not even paying attention to what the teacher's saying, just looking around I see a guy in a Ziggy Palffy jersey and he's giving John Tavares the double middles. This is the kind of environment you want Matthew Schaefer to grow up in. No wonder he left, and so it's gonna be classic. But I want to be there. I want to be in baggy jeans and wearing Timberlands, and maybe I'll buy a thick chain or something, and I just want to be screaming at John Tavares all night if I can. It's a tough thing to explain to my wife. You're gonna have to put the kids to bed tonight because I need to go scream until my voice is hoarse at John Tavares for the 8th straight season in a row. But I want to be there for it. But I also want to be there because I want to be the guy that James Myrtle or Jonas Siegel finger points to the ushers or the stewards and is do you think that guy should be out of the building? Yeah. He's still booing him. It's the second period.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
Hopefully the Islanders just absolutely run the show. And it reminds me of when do you remember I kind of forgot about this. He got his 1,000th point against the Islanders, obviously.
Yeah.
And like the Leafs celebrated but like nobody was ready to like jump over the boards. Morgan Riley had to like be like, come on guys, we're supposed to do this. Like everybody over the boards. And then Bo Horvat scored in overtime and like made fun of Morgan Riley's little celebration. I want something like that. I want someone to rub their face in it. And then I want the Islanders to trade for Austin Matthews at some point and have him refine his form of this team.
It's actually funny you mentioned that because I was going to go off on a whole spiel about how like Austin Matthews is definitely getting traded to LA at some point. Like there's no way around this. And I was listening to Kipper and Bourne from last week, and Kipper went into the whole thing about Los Angeles is the play. They're losing Kopitar. They're going to need star power. The whole thing he does. And I was like, you're right, Kipper. You're right. Because I had that same exact thought 2 months ago. But I want to see Schaefer get like his first hat trick.
Yeah.
Like I just want to see him absolutely 4 points, something like that. Just completely go mental on Hockey Night in Canada. This way, the story becomes, holy shit, isn't Matthew Schaefer great? As opposed to the like, wow, isn't it funny that Tavares comes back? Like, just completely I want his performance to be so great that he completely knocks the Tavares angle off its axis. And it's just like, who cares anymore? Like
they'll still find a way.
We get to do what we want to do.
They'll still find a way. The headline will still be,
oh yeah,
Tavares takes high road in 6-1 Maple Leafs loss.
Yeah. Schaefer, 5 points.
Yeah,
leads
I
the
would.
way,
I would love. Yeah, that's one great way to do it. I'd also love someone like Mark Gatcomb to just like have 2 goals and a fight or something. And
that's the kind of guy we need.
Yeah,
Kipper.
exactly.
Like that kind of, yeah.
This is the guy that we've been saying. This is the type of player that we've been saying the Leafs need forever.
Right.
Oh God. Yeah.
There's a lot of ways that this game can go. I don't think Myrtle is there. I don't think Myrtle really travels. But it'll definitely be Luke Fox Jukebox. It'll definitely be David Alter.
David Alter can't break a streak.
Right. I think Josh Cloak might travel.
Please,
yeah,
bring them down. They can all come down. They're all very welcome. We'll
and then obviously you've got the whole Hockey Night in Canada crew, the whole the whatever those guys are. Yeah. So so it'll be a fun one. The Islanders need to get a win again. However you get it, just get it.
Right.
And I hate saying this. I've been saying this I feel like 4 episodes in a row. These are 3 winnable games. So go out and win them. Score more than 2 goals a game, please. I'm begging.
Score more than 2. And also, wait, I need to put out one quick PSA to the broadcast, which had John Davidson on for some reason today. And it's how Alex Ovechkin on. Please do not, just because Hockey Night in Canada is in town and we want to like get some, guys in from Hockey Night onto the broadcast for some reason, whatever. Don't do it. Like just
oh my God,
stay very far away from any of these. I don't need to see Sean McKenzie or Kyle Bukauskas or something during the Islanders like intermission.
Oh, I was thinking they're going to go right to Tavares.
Or yes, that.
Oh my God, don't do that.
Yes, please. Nothing. No, just far away from the Leafs, far away from the Hockey Night in Canada, far away from the Maple Leafs industrial complex.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, interview Mr. Schaefer.
Right. Yeah.
I know his name is Todd, but we got to call him Mr. Schaefer.
Mr.
We
Schaefer.
can't call him Todd. Like
we doff our caps to Mr. Schaefer, of course.
But if anything, interview him and be like, "Hey, isn't this weird that you're playing? Your son is playing against the Leafs. Like that's fine,
right?
But don't interview anybody from the Leafs, please.
Right.
That would be bad.
Yeah, we're going down a weird path here.
I hate this.
I've almost forgiven JD at this point, but that made me mad.
I will say at least JD offered something interesting. The Ovechkin interview was so awful because he just didn't say anything that was a true waste of time. At least JD had some things to say, So it was like he was like, when you think of great defensemen and Islanders, you think of Dennis Potvin. Like I don't think he really thinks that Schaefer is Dennis Potvin, but like at least he had something to say.
Right.
Ovechkin had nothing to say. So please don't ever do that again. Please stop. Thank you very much. Okay. But we are not done with the Leafs yet because it's been a while. They're on the schedule this week. So we might as well take the opportunity to bring in one quick Master Leaf Theater. And I'm happy to report that this does come from Sportsnet, but it comes from a new voice. It is not Luke Fox Jukebox. We're going to give him a break this week. It comes from a writer named Alex Adams, who is actually a Senators guy. Believe it or not, this is written by a Senators reporter with a podcast and all that stuff. And you brought this to my attention, and the title is called Senators No Longer the Little Brother in Battle of Ontario Rivalry with Maple Leafs. Now, you and I are obviously no strangers to like little brother rivalries here. Obviously, the Islanders just played the Rangers this week. Beating them is always a thrill. But how did this come across your radar, and what did you think of it when you read it? I mean, you immediately sent it to me, so I kind of have an idea what you thought about it. But what did you think while reading it?
This was a classic in the genre of these guys have these writers in Canada, the hockey media in Canada have this insane, I don't know, habit, yearning for writing stories, and they're like, oh, I've come up with this amazing angle for this romantic tale of David versus Goliath or Lazarus rising from the dead, whatever it is, whatever the allegory you want to use for these you want to use these hockey teams for. And then the result that actually happens in real life doesn't impact whether they run it or So, like, this one is Senators no longer the little brother in Battle of Ontario with Maple Leafs. The Senators lost to the Maple Leafs in the game. I was like, why are we running this? I read through it. I'm like, what am I? I'm looking at the final score, and I'm reading this, and then I'm like, all right, looking back at the final score, I'm like, is the game still going on? What am I missing here? The Senators lost this game, and they lost the playoff series. That this is the first game since they played in the playoffs last year, and they lost again. So, shouldn't the title be Senators Still Little Brother in Battle?
And it wasn't even that they lost this particular game. They lost the game 7-6. I think the Leafs were up 5-1 at one point, and then the Senators storming back, and like the Leafs were on the precipice of a colossal collapse when they finally pulled it back and won by a goal 7-6. Think about that. 7-6. What? 7-6 in 2025? Yes. Not 1985. Yes. So 100%, like, this story, while fine on its surface, was just run in the worst possible time. If you've been paying attention, it makes no sense whatsoever at the time it was run. And, it's basically a retelling of the battles of Ontario and the kind of, different decades and whatever, the waves that the Senators have had. Obviously, when it first started, it was all Leafs, and then because the Senators were an expansion team, and then all of a sudden they got good, and the Leafs, the battles really started, and there have been playoff series and stuff like that. And it's all fine. I guess it's, for maybe the not so informed reader, although if you're on Sportsnet, chances are you already know all this stuff by the back, like the back of your hand anyway. And I was reading it, and I was like, yeah, this is all kind of fine, whatever. And then I got to the end, which I thought was very funny. And again, this comes after a 7-6 Leafs win. I think it was 7-5. It was something like that. It was really bad. Let me just double check right here.
7-5. 7-5.
It was 7-5. Okay,
yeah.
sorry. 7-5 win, and again, the Leafs almost blew. But anyway, the end is what really got me, as sort of like wait, what are we talking about exactly here? Because I thought this was very funny. So Adams writes, this is way down in the bottom. And Adams writes this. There is a pathway to belief in Toronto. What Toronto has is a proven track record, making the playoffs for 9 consecutive seasons. Ottawa is still plotting that course. The Leafs are also a big market team that can easily spend to the cap, which will rise in the years to come, while as a small market team, Ottawa will have to be prudent and may not be able to spend to the upper echelons. It was Troy Stecher, of all people, with his impassioned celebration after the buzzer rang in Toronto's victory on Saturday as a brawl ensued around him, who typified the passion of the Battle of Ontario. It wasn't just a regular season game, it was more. We know what hockey fans in Ontario want from their fandoms. Hockey in April of every year. Battle of Ontario 2.0. Okay, there's just so much wrong with this. The proven track record kills
it's just so good. I know this is a Senators writer, so I'm hoping he's like, I'm going to rate this to neither of them.
Right.
But then you read on, you're like, no, it's not. It's as ham-fisted as some of our luminaries on Master Leap Theater. What Toronto has is a proven track record, making the playoffs 9 consecutive seasons. And then I love, he says, Ottawa's trying to copy that. They're trying to do the same thing. And he also says at the end, which is great, we all know what they want. They want to play hockey in April. No, they don't. Like, the Leafs want to play hockey in May and June. Like, they play a lot of hockey in April. They're always playing hockey in April. They don't play in the next months. That's the problem.
Yeah, that calls back the classic Tavares line of we were almost there. After they failed and they lost in the first round. Right. Almost where?
Yeah.
Almost to the second round of the playoffs.
We got a lot of respect for the handshake line.
Right.
This is what everybody wants from their fandom. You know, they want to lose to their bitter rival. They don't care if they win or lose. They just want to play their bitter rival in April.
Right. Oh. So that's problem number 1 is the proven track record. Yeah, proven track record of blowing it halfway through the play, not making it very far in the playoffs. Ottawa's still plotting that course. I think they want to plot a different course, one that involves them going past the second round of the playoffs. So that's problem number 2. Problem number 3 is the Leafs are also a big market team that can easily spend to the cap. Yeah, and that's where they have problems. That's what caused all these problems in the first place was they spent to the cap to sign 4 guys, and then the rest of the team was like just sort of there. And they didn't really get much out of them. And then one of those guys left, and now they're left with a couple of other guys that are here and a ton of cap room, and they're still not that good. So yeah, the cap hasn't really bothered them. Yeah, the Senators are a smaller market team. They can't spend as much, but if the cap's going up for the Leafs, it's going to go up for the Senators too. So like, I hope that when time comes to sign Tim Stützle or whoever, they're going to fork over. They haven't had any problem signing these guys yet. And actually earlier in the piece, he makes a point that the Senators have locked their core up. Okay. So what do they give a shit about the rising cap? They've done their business. It's over. They've signed these guys and they're going to ride with them as long as it takes. But my other favorite thing is that, so it was Troy Stetcher of all people with his impassioned celebration that typified the passion of the Battle of Ontario. So just so we're clear, this is the guy who just showed up for the Leafs having an impassioned celebration as a brawl ensued around him that typified the Battle of Ontario. So it's a guy who shows up late, probably has nothing to do with the victory at all, and is, celebrating like he did something as a brawl ensues around him after a 7-5 victory in December. That typifies the Battle of Ontario. I'm not so sure about that.
Yes, and there's a lot to pick through here. This is a pretty long article.
Yes.
And as I said, this is written by somebody who is living in fantasy land where these two teams are battling neck and neck for the top 2 spots in the division and are on a collision course to meet in the playoffs.
Right.
And that's the tone of this entire thing, right? Like they played last year. Everybody wants it to happen again. Only one problem here. And that line comes, about halfway down the article, which is great. At the moment, neither team is in a playoff spot. And this is like when the Avalanche and Red Wings play or the Avalanche and Stars play in October, and everyone's like, "Oh God, give me 7 games of this." I'm like, "Well, it's October. Right. Like they got to play 76 more regular season games, and then we can talk about if they need to play. Give me 7 games of this." So this entire article is like, "Oh, I can't wait for the next Battle of Ontario." Only one problem here. Neither one of these teams is in a playoff spot, and there's some, he writes why they're not. Like the Sens have had a stop-start season. Linus Ullmark has struggled mightily. The Senators have found ways to lose, often outplaying teams while still grabbing the L. Like, yeah, dude, I don't know if there's going to be a Battle of Ontario if your team is grabbing the L while you're like maybe the tone of this article should have been, man, like this game was crazy. It was fun. There was fights. Troy Stetcher is dancing. What a shame that these two teams suck this season and we're not going to have another Battle of Ontario. But since this is Canada and this is the hockey media up there, and this is one specific province and greater metropolitan area of Toronto, you have a free pass to live in fantasy land, and you said we're giving Luke Box Jukebox a break, but I do want to read one line from a Luke Box Jukebox story when we're done parsing through this one before, because we haven't had a chance to read it since we've been back since he wrote it on right after our last episode. So I'm gonna have to read it at some point. But once we're done picking through this, if we aren't yet.
Well, I mean, I think we're about done. Like we have gone over it, and it's clearly this was an article that, again, on its surface is fine, but in the context of the game that it's being published
And
after,
the season that they're having
makes no sense. This season makes no sense. I feel like this was pre-written like a week before this game happened, and then these little details were kind of shoved in to try and make it work. But honestly, had this article been written before the season, it's fine.
Yeah,
we're not here reading this because it's totally fine. But to come now in a season which both teams aren't in the playoffs, one just beat the other 7-5 in a, after almost blowing the entire game. And frankly, the Leafs then go ahead and lose tonight. Like it's just, it's not the right time for this sort of thing.
Yes. And it's just a feature of the weirdest media circus in all of sports. Speaking of the weirdest media circus in all of sports, the Leafs had a pretty dismal road trip right before the break, going losing in Nashville, then losing in Dallas, and our buddy Luke Fox Jukebox was on the trip, and he was in Dallas, and he sat down with or caught up with William Nylander after their loss to the Stars, and this article is titled. It's on Sportsnet, obviously. Don't know if I felt like this. Nylander, Maple Leafs hit new low in confidence. I'm just going to read the first part because it has one of the strangest lines I've ever read in sports journalism, sports media. I can't believe that it's real. And it really, it almost validates what we've picked up on here, which is that Luke Fox Jukebox has a very strange fascination of noting when William Nylander is not wearing a shirt. Dateline Dallas. William Nylander could well be the most confident man in Toronto most nights. Tonight, even he was shaken by the state of the Toronto Maple Leafs. I don't know if I felt like this before, if I've had a stretch like this, Nylander said Sunday, following his team's third straight loss and fifth in its past 6 tries. The superstar was wearing all his clothes and speaking so quietly that reporters were tempted to mush their recorders into his beard to catch his words.
I mean, I'm wearing all my clothes now. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess the idea is that like he's out of the shower and dressed and everything and is ready to like bolt the arena.
I don't know.
Why not just say that? I don't know.
Or just not even mention it.
Or not mention it.
Right. This sentence can live on its own.
Right.
He was speaking so quietly that reporters couldn't hear him well. But, you don't have to say they were mushing his recorders into his beards or the fact that he was fully clothed.
Yeah.
And it's and this has been, we've talked so much about this weird kind of fascination of Luke Fox Jukebox that I then took to Google, and I just Googled like Luke Fox Jukebox tarps off, and which probably put me on a list somewhere, but but I once again felt validated that like this is not something that like we're just like making a bigger deal out of than it is. This is an actual, like, he does this. This is a shtick of his, to the point where our robot overlords have picked on it because there's an AI overview for it where it says tarps off is a recurring phrase used by Sportsnet writer Luke Fox Jukebox to describe Toronto Maple Leafs player William Nylander's shirtless post-game interviews, which have become a notable part of his confident persona. And then it just gives examples of it. And including an Instagram post by Fox where he was talking about Nylander shedding his tarp. So, and why isn't, these guys always talk about like chirping and breaking balls or whatever. How is nobody on this beat like, oh, you got to note that Troy Stetcher was tarps off today, Luke?
I don't know. And we've played this game before, but could you imagine that, like, Andrew Gross writing Bo Horvat said tarps off?
Yeah, bro.
No?
Yeah. Or imagine the Newsday editor getting that story and be like, Andrew, you...
Right. What?
You all right? What am I supposed to do with this, Andrew? Like, do I need to call your parents? What's going on?
I don't know.
Have we, we've done 350 something episodes of Islanders Anxiety. Have we ever mentioned whether or not somebody's wearing their shirts in an interview?
They've all been wearing shirts as far as I remember. They
yeah.
all have the same shirt. It says War Road on it, which is like I always find funny, like that's the name of the company, but it's also like, dude, that's like Brock Nelson's hometown.
Yeah.
Is this like his company? Like so I have noticed the shirts, but that's about it. Actually, it's funny. This is totally off the topic, but I remember when Rick DiPietro was doing like Islanders, post game interviews, and his shirt, I guess it was CCM at the time. Not even sure what company it was, but it just said Isles across the front. And I was like, that's a dope shirt. Like I would buy that shirt if I could. It just said Isles on the front. Like Isles stuff didn't exist back in the, whatever it was, early 2000s. I found one on eBay and I have it saved in my likes because it is in my size. It is an extra large. So next time I get some eBay cash, I might send over, because I was like, holy crap, I haven't seen one of these shirts since Rick DiPietro was on this team. And that was kind of cool. But I have never seen a tarpless Islanders post-game press conference, I got to tell you. Everybody's still very much clothed in their sweaty undergarments for their games. But, maybe that's not good enough for Luke Fox. He just wants to get the tarps off. He wants those details in there so that he's bringing you into the locker room. But
right.
You don't need to. It's okay, really. Yeah. We don't need to be that close to these guys. Just tell us what they said. And that's good enough. Right. In this case, like he gets across that Nylander is upset that he hasn't scored, and obviously he broke out in a big way in a couple of games later, and that's all fine and good. But I don't know if wearing all of his clothes and speaking so quietly, the reporters were tempted to mush their recorders into his beard. They were tempted to mush, which meaning should we mush our recorders into his beard?
Did he turn to Josh Klug and go, "Hey, you gonna mush here? Are you gonna mush?" I want to mush. I really want to mush into his beard.
Yeah, I just don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's his, there's like a journalism 101 thing, which is you just don't need to point out obvious facts in a setting. Yeah. Like you don't need to, if you're working for the New York Times and you're interviewing a political figure, and maybe you're interviewing the Pope. You're not going to point out that the Pope was wearing his clothes. Right. It's you might point out what he's wearing if it's something outrageous, but you're not going to say wearing all his clothes, and you're definitely not going to say you were tempted to mush your recorder into his beard. So right. One of the just strangest developments here in this ongoing saga. But we'll see. Maybe he's going to be talking about. Maybe Matthew Schaefer will be tarps off. I'm gonna try to get message to the team to make sure that every Matthew Schaefer is wearing his tarp when he talks to Luke Fox.
That's how you've made it.
Hey,
not the hockey night towel.
Yeah,
it's the tarps off.
Right.
Luke Fox jukebox interview.
Hey, Matt, you often go tarps off around the island? Got a thing here like it is up in the 6?
Yeah. Oh my God. I'm just preemptively annoyed by how this is all going to go, and just like asking him what it's like, how he felt growing up with the Leafs, and how much his favorite players were, and how it feels now that he's playing for this team that hates his team. And he's going, "Oh, I love it here." The kid has shown that he's savvy enough with this, with the media, that I think it'll be fun. I think he's going to have a good time with it. But you brought up, I hadn't even thought about the Matt Martin connection. Somebody, I'm sure Martin's going to sit him down on the couch and be like, "Let me talk to you about this," because this was an enormous game for us. And I mean, his line had a great game that night. So yeah, so we'll see. But they need a win more than anything else. And in the words of David Rittich, just got to get the win. That's it. So there you go. We hope you've enjoyed this episode of Master Leaf Theater. We were going to do it because we had to. We were set up. But it's nice to have a chance to talk shit about the Rangers and Leafs without kind of having to make one. They both kind of serve that up for us. So it was nice to get those in here. Been a long one, so we're going to wrap this up. Again, Islanders Book Club at the Patreon on Tuesday. And then that's it for us until next week. So go back and listen to Weird Islanders on Parker Wotherspoon and Dmitry Timoshev if you haven't. It was a really great one, but that'll be up that'll be it for us this week. Have a happy new year. Have a safe New Year's Eve. Have a happy new year wherever you are. Hopefully 2026 is a great one for the Islanders. We really appreciate you listening for another year 10 again in the books. We're going to be, this is season 10. So we're kind of halfway through year 10, I suppose. I don't know how it works, but we really appreciate it. And we hope you have a good one. Find us on Patreon, patreon.com/IslandersAnxiety for ad-free episodes, bonus podcasts. You know the whole drill. Our theme song is Morning Haze by Family Dinner. Listen to more of their music on Spotify. Read Lighthouse Hockey every single day for your most up-to-date Islanders news and discussion. Islanders Anxiety podcasts are part of the Fans First Sports Network. Find us wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. Please leave us a review where you can. Subscribe to us on YouTube as well. Shop VintageIceHockey.com. Try wines from the Pinot Project. Mike, any final thoughts on the week that was, the very exciting week coming up, or the end of 2025, which sounds kind of weird also.
No, yeah, just I'm batting down the hatches for High Road Week here. We're getting ready for High Road Week because it's coming.
Yeah, right. It's coming. Get ready because it will happen. And I think we're ready for it. So thank you again for listening. We'll be back next week, same bat time, same bat channel, and we'll go over these games and talk about the next slate of games coming up. Thanks a lot. Talk to you soon. Have a happy new year and take care. Bye-bye.